your fire with stories, quotes, and the mindset to overcome any challenge. Today, we're exploring how to turn the impossible into possible, inspired by Nelson Mandela's words. It always seems impossible until it's done. Dr. Carter, what does it take to really shift from doubt to possibility?
Thanks for having me. That shift begins with reframing our perception of obstacles. Psychologists call this cognitive restructuring. We learn to interpret setbacks not as endpoints, but as stepping stones. For example, Thomas Edison viewed each failed experiment as a discovery of what didn't work fuel for the next attempt.
So it's less about the challenge itself and more about our response to it. I love that Edison analogy. Could you explain how someone can practically start building this kind of resilience in daily life?
Certainly. Start by labeling your self-talk. When you catch yourself saying, "This is impossible," consciously rephrase it as, "This is difficult, but not insurmountable." Studies from Stanford show that students who practice this technique improved problem solving by 30%. It's a small mental adjustment with big impact.
That's a powerful statistic. As we transition into facing challenges, let's explore what resilience looks like in action, especially when the path twists unexpectedly. Helen Keller famously said, "A bend in the road is not the end of the road, unless you fail to make the turn." Dr. Deyuve, Carter, how do people cultivate the resilience to make that turn, rather than give up?
Resilience is like a muscle. It strengthens with use. Research from the American Psychological Association highlights that people who set small, achievable goals during tough times are more likely to adapt. For instance, elite athletes break down recovery from injuries into milestones, celebrating each minor win.
That's insightful. Are there techniques or routines you recommend for listeners to reinforce resilience, especially when setbacks seem overwhelming?
Absolutely. One effective method is mental contrasting, visualizing obstacles alongside your desired outcome. A University of Hamburg study found this increases persistence rates by 40% compared to simply positive thinking. It's about anticipating the turns and planning for them.
That bridges perfectly into our next segment. Once we've built resilience, how do we sustain our drive, especially when motivation dips? Let's talk persistence and action. Zig Ziglar said, "Motivation doesn't last, so you need to recharge it daily." Dr. Carter, what does the science say about cultivating persistence, especially when initial excitement fades?
Motivation is much like a battery. It depletes and requires regular recharging. Behavioral studies show that forming daily rituals, even as simple as journaling progress, can increase goal completion rates by up to 60%. The key is consistency over intensity.
That's a compelling figure. Some people struggle when they don't see immediate results. How can they keep pushing forward in the face of slow progress?
Great question. Set process-oriented goals, not just outcome goals. For example, instead of focusing solely on losing 10 pounds, aim to exercise 20 minutes daily. A Harvard study found this shift reduces burnout and sustains momentum as it rewards effort rather than just results.
That's a crucial distinction. Now, we've discussed resilience and persistence, but underlying it all is self-belief. Let's dive into how foundational that is for real achievement. Muhammad Ali once declared, "I am the greatest," long before he became a champion. Dr. Carter, why is self-belief so essential, and can it truly predict success?
Self-belief acts as a psychological catalyst. Studies from the University of Melbourne found that individuals with high self-confidence earn higher incomes and get promoted faster, even controlling for skill. It's like giving your brain a green light to pursue ambitious goals.
Fascinating. But what about those who struggle with self-doubt? Are there actionable steps to build genuine self-confidence, not just empty affirmations?
Absolutely. Confidence grows from evidence. Keep a success journal, document small wins daily. Over time, this creates a feedback loop of competence and confidence. Cognitive behavioral therapy also uses this technique to combat imposter syndrome, with clinical trials showing a 50% reduction in self-doubt.
Incredible. As we wrap up, let's encourage our listeners to step into their power, echoing Steve Jobs' call to action. Dr. Carter, any final words on conquering each day with intention? Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Dr. Carter, how can listeners practically apply this wisdom to live more authentically and take bold action?
Start by clarifying your core values. People who align their daily actions with personal values report 2x greater life satisfaction, according to Gallup. For example, if creativity is central, carve out time for creative projects, even if they're small.
That's actionable advice. What about overcoming the fear of judgment or failure, which often holds people back from speaking up or showing up?
Reframe failure as feedback rather than a verdict. Silicon Valley entrepreneurs often say, fail fast, learn faster. In fact, startups that iterate rapidly are 30% more likely to succeed, as per a Kauffman Foundation report. Taking action is the secret ingredient.
Thank you, Dr. Carter, for these practical strategies. To everyone listening, step into your power, show up for yourself, and remember, keep rising and conquering your day. If this episode fired you up, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time,